Hi, if you've stopped here, chances are you're one of my students who's coming for a recap, or you're an absolute beginner looking for some tips and pointers on how to start playing the guitar. Either way, hopefully I'm your guy and you'll enjoy my style of teaching. First things first, I'd like to introduce you to the guitar. This is the guitar. It doesn't speak. That's your job, is to make it speak. We'll get to that soon. I like to learn by starting to know the parts of the guitar, so to speak. This is the person, this would be the head, the neck and the body. The strings are pretty self-explanatory. The bridge attaches the strings to the body, and the frets are these lines that go down here. Now, as a beginner, I prefer to look at the frets as boxes. So these areas here, I call them boxed areas. So I would say box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, and so forth. It keeps it a lot simpler. Now, if we are putting our fingers into the frets, we have to name them. So I name them, everyone names them 1, 2, 3, and 4. Our thumb is a support at the back of the guitar. So our thumb will be sitting here in whatever position is most comfortable for you, but the thumb acts as a stabilizer and also assists you in pressing the strings down. These little tips will help you later on when you struggle to get notes. Now, what are notes? These are notes. Any bit of sound is a note. When we alter those notes, we alter the sound of the guitar by shortening the string. How we do that is by pressing on a string, by applying pressure with the tips of our finger. So at the moment I'm using my first finger to apply pressure to the first string on the first box area or the first fret. Now, applying pressure to that string will change it from sounding like this to this. I've now created a new note. These notes do have names, but we won't worry about that right now. We're just going to try and get some chords out of the guitar. So what's a chord? A chord is a combination of notes when played together sound nice. So that was a D chord. Chords have names. We'll learn those as we go along. Hopefully there'll be a description below there that will show you some images and how to read those images to transfer those chords onto the guitar. So I'm going to walk you through it, telling you which fingers to use, what strings to press, and what box to put them in. And now we're going to work on some chords. Now, firstly, I'd like to mention the guitar pick. If you haven't seen one of these, they're just a little plastic thing called a plectrum, and what it's used for is to strum the guitar, like so. It gives a nice sharp sound, a little different to the fingers. They're very cheap, you can buy them anywhere. You can buy them on my website. How do we hold the pick? One of the most common questions I get asked. Generally, I'd say what feels comfortable for you, but the most popular method is, well, easiest way to describe it would be how you hold a door key when you open the door. You place the pick on your hand like so and rest the thumb on top. There will be a description on my website, but it's the simplest method. Some people do hold it like that, some people do hold it like that. Be careful not to make a tight fist. You would like to let your other fingers relax a little bit. Just let them sit like so. So, firstly, let's learn some chords. Now, if you are to go online, you will find images like so. Now these look a little confusing and complicated when you first look at them, but I'm going to show you a simple way to read them. And this is a problem I find that most people struggle reading these chord diagrams. Now, I went online and found some other diagrams. I found this version on a Google image search. Now, this is a nice image. What is it? It's basically a map of where to put your fingers to play the D chord. This chord we're going to learn is named D. Now, that's what you'll see online. If you imagine it as this way and place it on the guitar, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. The numbers are the fingers they want me to use. So therefore that would be a 2, that would be a 1, and that would be a 3. Giving me that triangle shape. So I refer to the D chord as a triangle shaped chord. So I'm going to attempt to play that chord. I'm looking at it, I can see through the paper, although online it will be like that, or in your booklet that you would have got from me would be like that. Imagining it like this, my second finger will go on the second box. As you can see, the boxed areas. Second box, first finger goes on the second box also, but on the third string. And the third finger goes on the second string on the third box, giving us that shaped chord. Now you'll notice a couple of X's at the top. That means these two strings are not played. The 0 means this string is played, but it's played open, which means you're not touching it. It's open. All these strings are now open. Now they're not open. So if you're not touching it, it's open, an open string. So therefore, to play a D chord, we would strum from the 4th string down, placing our fingers in all the correct places, 2 on the bottom, 1 on the 3, and 3 finger on the 2 string, 3rd fret. Okay, if you've got this, that's great. If not, just work on it. Imagine the chords sideways and being able to place it on the guitar. So you will see that online. The other way you could do it is to imagine the guitar next to it like that. Give you the image of the boxes and lines. Not all chord diagrams are drawn that nicely. Most of them are simplified down to this. Just a grid, and you have to work out the lines and the frets yourself. And not all as easy as the first one I showed you. So a D chord, to recap. I'll speak you through the D chord. First finger goes on the 3rd string. 1, 2, 3. I'll move in so you can see what I'm doing. First finger's on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Middle finger is on the bottom string, 2nd fret. So I have 2 fingers on now, one there, together. And finally, my 3rd finger will go on the 2nd string. So I have that, that, and that, giving me the D chord, the triangle D chord. And I strum from the 4th string. I like to test it first, 1 string at a time. If I hear something like that, I know I've done something wrong. So I do an investigation. What do? I check. Am I pressing hard enough? Is my thumb providing enough support behind so I can squeeze against it? Am I on top of a fret? I shouldn't be on top of a fret. I should always be before a fret. As close as possible, but not on top of. Is another finger interrupting a string? Could this finger be bumping the bottom string? Check all those things. If your chord is clear, strum away. Okay, we're back again. Now let's learn the A chord. The A chord is different to the D chord. Now, I'll show you the diagram. Remember the diagrams? Okay, this is the A chord diagram. Now, you'll see the numbers in the boxes. These, of course, refer to the fingers, just like they did in the last chord. So the 1 is still on the 3rd string, just like it was on the D. If you remember the D chord, first finger on the 3rd string, bottom, 2nd, and you get the triangle shape. That was the D chord. Now we have the A chord. It's telling us our first finger is still on the 3rd string. So there's no point moving it when we change from the D to the A. So we'll leave it on there. And then we're going to place our 2nd finger above it on the 4th string. As you can see, the 2 on the 4th string. And then the 3rd finger, you'll see, I'll take the others off so you can see what I'm doing, is on the 2nd string. So we have first finger, 3rd string, just like the first chord, 1 above it, 1 below it. And we get the squishy chord because it's all squashed in between that 2nd fret. Those 2 lines, each finger has to be between them. So the A chord's a little difficult. You will get it. It takes a little bit of work to get it all clear. Remember, each finger has to be assigned to its string, so it can't be bumping into another string. This is where it becomes difficult. A bit of practice, you will get it. The great thing about D and A is they're popular chords, and changing from D to A is as easy as that. 2 fingers, move, and you get that little shift. So this is why I teach these chords first. D and A, very popular chords. There are many songs you can learn with it, and I will attach a link to those songs on the website. D is the triangle shaped chord. A is 1 above and 1 below. If you practice in this way, I suggest doing 4 strums of each chord once you get them clear. 1, 2, 3, 4. The other thing to note with the A chord, it only has 1 string crossed out, which is the top E string. The top string is not involved in the A chord. The A chord starts being strummed from the A string. The A chord gets strummed from the A string. Yes, the strings have names also. Don't confuse yourself with it too much. Just follow the chord diagram, strum from the 5th string down, and that's the A chord. The 5th string happens to be called A. And of course, with the D chord, back to the old triangle D chord, the 4th string where you strum from happens to be called D as well. So a D chord is strummed from the D string, and an A chord is strummed from the A string. Okay. If you need to practice the chord, pause the video and please practice it. Finally, the E chord. Now, the E chord has no strings crossed out, sorry. Again, we'll turn it sideways just till you get used to reading them upright, but give it a bit of practice, you will get used to reading it this way. And it's also the only way you're going to see them online. When you go and Google your own songs and look for the chords, these are the way your chord diagrams are going to look. 9 times out of 10. Sometimes they won't even have the numbers in there. So it's important that you do your own research. A, D, and E are three of the most popular chords, and we'll work with them quite a bit. So now to the E chord. Now you'll notice that the first finger again is on the third string, but not on the second box like the other two chords, on the first box. So if we were changing, we did the D. Watch my hand for a second. D to the A was a simple shifting movement. Now to change to the E, we're going to take those two off again. We're going to slide back to the first fret because it tells us our first finger is in the first box there, as you'll see. And the 2 is on the 5th string and the 3 is on the 4th, giving us the E chord. Now the E chord can be strummed straight from the top. Won't work with the paper, so I'll try it with the pick. And we have the nice E chord. E is a nice, strong, powerful sounding chord. So E strummed from the top. To change to A, I will slide forward one above, one below, and strum from the 5th string, because that's A. And to change to D, I shift those two down to the D shape, strumming from the D string. And we have 3 chords. Okay, it will take a lot of practice. Changing is difficult. So I suggest choose one of the songs from below, work it out. The chords are placed above the words. They're generally quite easy songs. I don't put difficult songs. But to practice your changing, I suggest singing along with the songs and strumming the chords when they are placed above the word in the song. It's good practice. And remember, tap your foot, get a metronome online, and keep yourself in time. Thanks for that. See you next lesson.